The news alert coming in from Pakistan, where Pakistan Foreign Minister Shah Mehmood Qureshi has gone into self-isolation as a precautionary measure upon his return from China. Sources tell WION that he will get himself tested for the coronavirus day after tomorrow. Other members of the delegation that visited China will also go into self-quarantine. When the delegation arrived in Beijing earlier, their blood samples were taken. But those initial tests had come negative. Last night, upon their return to Pakistan, their samples were taken once again. Doctors in China, as a precautionary measure, have recommended a mandatory minimum 5-day self-isolation, which is being followed. The delegation will get themselves checked once again after the 5-day period ends. Joining us on this broadcast is WION's Pakistan Bureau Chief Anas Malik, who is joining us live from Islamabad. Anas, the number of cases in Pakistan is nearing 250 now, but the latest we are getting is information about Shah Mehmood Qureshi. He is in self-isolation as a precautionary measure. What more can you tell us?
Absolutely, Shobit. There are about 237 confirmed cases of the COVID or the coronavirus here in Pakistan as of 3 a.m. Pakistan time, roughly 6 a.m., 6 hours before. But since then, we haven't seen any spike or any reported cases from any of the provinces, the 4 provinces, or even the federal capital, that is federal territory, that is Islamabad, where I'm standing as we speak. So the confirmed cases stand at 237, with 26 being in Punjab, 16 being in Balochistan, 16 being in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, 5 in Gilgit-Baltistan, 2 in the federal territory of Islamabad, where I am, and 172 cases in Sindh, which is being termed as the epicenter now. Most of the cases from Sindh are those of Taftan who've come in from Iran. Only 2% of these cases, that means only 6 cases, are that of local transmission. Out of these 237 cases, only 2% cases are that of local transmission. That amounts to about 6 people have been locally transmitted. Having said that, as a precautionary measure, we saw that the Pakistani president, the foreign minister, and the minister for Planning and Development, Asad Umar, were visiting China yesterday and the day before, on 16th and 17th of March, and it was a high-level visit. And upon their return last night, what we've learned is, reliably learned, is that the Pakistani Foreign Minister Shah Mehmood Qureshi has gone into self-isolation. Now, about the other members, about the other dignitaries, that includes the President and the Minister for Planning and Development, Asad Umar, it is still unclear whether they too have gone into self-isolation or not. But this self-isolation that is being followed by Shah Mehmood Qureshi is being done upon the recommendation of doctors in China. When they arrived in China, in Beijing, their blood samples and nasal swab were done, which were tested negative. Shah Mehmood and the other delegation has been tested once again. The results are awaited. It will be due somewhere around 2 p.m. in about 3 hours Pakistan time. So therefore, but the doctors in China had mandatorily suggested as a mandatory quarantine period for minimum 5 days, and that is being followed. They will get themselves tested again on the 6th day when this quarantine period ends. But as a precautionary measure, it is safe to assume that the Pakistani president as well is in that is in self-isolation as well, as being as had been recommended by the doctors in China. Yes,
right, Anas, we had heard just yesterday Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan come out and say that his country is not prepared to deal with a wide-scale coronavirus outbreak. How has Imran Khan's comments been taken by the Pakistani public, by the medical workers and the opposition?
Well, to clarify what the Prime Minister Imran Khan was saying, the fact that the inability of the Balochistan government is well known, and that is the reason that Taftan had been the epicenter of the spread of the virus. We understand that Pakistan is not well equipped and well resourced, and that is what is being termed by the whole of opposition as well. There is some criticism as well being done, but by and large, we're seeing unity within the Pakistani opposition opposition and other circles of daily life and the political circle or an analyst, that they understand that this is a pandemic, that they understand that Pakistan's economic condition is not that vary of other countries where it can sustain much. And given that there has been some critique as well on the fact that how candid was the Pakistani Prime Minister while speaking about Corona, because what we understand is that the COVID or the COVID-19 is not as casual as how it was being addressed by the Pakistani Prime Minister, though the measures that were casually or candidly suggested by the Pakistani Prime Minister a while ago, the Canadian Prime Minister has also tweeted the same. So that is being looked upon that yes, the Pakistani Prime Minister has suggested a course of action or a way forward, but the highlights or the underlying points were basically two, that yes, we know that Corona will spread, there is no need to panic, that is one. Right. A bit of an irony in that statement, what we understand. And number two, that Pakistan will talk to the IMF with regards to the goals that have been set forward, because the impact of the economy on of the coronavirus, that would be talked about with the IMF as well. So that is being looked upon the two main takeaways, and by and large there is mixed reactions in Pakistan on the address of the Pakistani Prime Minister. Yes, Shobit.
I'd like to thank Anas for joining us with all the latest updates from Islamabad in Pakistan. Pakistan's Foreign Minister Shah Mehmood Qureshi is in self-isolation as a precautionary measure after returning from China, and certainly at this moment precaution is better than treatment.